Hello, everybody, and welcome to Viva Alive. And I'm here with my dear friend and colleague, Daniela Lemos. And we're here to
Thing.
invite you to a world of ease. And what is that? It's a foreign concept. And it's really interesting because it's so foreign to most people. When you say, I invite you to a world of ease, they go, is that easy? Or is it just the opposite of like working your ass off? Pardon my language for those who that offends. But what is it, Daniela, for you? What is ease? How would you explain that to people? Uh, it's a world of recording without freezing. The video-
Sorry. Technical problems.
Yes. Okay. So, what is ease for
Yeah,
you?
yeah, that's an interesting question because for a long time, I believe easy was when everything worked out
Oh yeah.
and when there were no problems and when there are no challenges. But now it's changed. Now I see differently. For me, ease is not for is the absence of challenges, but it's something that I see that's not impossible in the way that I think about the situation. I
Hmm.
think everything. Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting because and that's a great way to say it because a lot of people think that ease is easy, like taking the easy way out,
Yeah.
letting people run over you like as if you're nothing because that'll make it easy. And that is exactly the opposite to what we're talking about. And I think that you've explained it really well. It's about everything that comes into your life has ease to it, even if the thing that has the ease is something that shows up differently than how you were anticipating it or imagined it, or it is what you imagined, but it's not that much ease. And it's so funny how that is. And it's true that there is a way to traverse life so that no matter what shows up, there is ease to it, even if it's a challenge, what we would consider a challenge. So let's try an example because this is pretty abstract for most people because they're used to doing
Exactly.
like the challenges of life. How do I make it through life? I
Yeah.
used to actually live by how do I make it from through life? How do I make it from one side of where I am now to the day I die? That was my point. That was my point of view when I was like 5. So I had to find ways to navigate it differently than that. So why don't you give an example of, can you give an example of what ease would be when it's, let's say, when it's not working?
Yeah. I think there is a natural tendency for our the way we work to pay more attention about what is wrong and what is not working. And I think it had important functions like a human survival, I think, for everybody. But the problem is that many people have turned into a way of life. For me, easy, for example, when you have a big challenge, in suddenly, automatically, I go for a difficult space to deal with that. But after that, I start to ask a question and feel what is possible in that situation. And the energy, my way that the way that I think change, and I feel light to deal with that.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. I can give you a good example. So right now I'm in Sweden. I'm at the end of a 7 country tour and
Yeah.
like 7 countries, right? And I have not been able to speak any of the languages, so that was like really like fun and interesting. But I get to the airport in Copenhagen, and we're at the place to rent cars. So it's the first place I was going to rent a car during the whole trip. The rest of it, I just traveled around and did stuff. And um, the car that I asked for, they didn't have. And then I asked for an upgrade. And there was a whole bunch of these different rental places all in a row because it's at an airport, right? And what I did when it wasn't working out was I became aware of everybody else's world that wasn't working out. And because of that awareness, I chose to go, holy, because there wasn't ease going on. I was aware of everyone else's unease that was going on. And realizing that I'm somewhat of I like to get things to work the way I'd like them to work. Settling for second best is not me. Like, that's just not me. And that's the direction it was going in. And it made me contract and collapse into this
Wow.
exactly what you're talking about. That thing where you become less of you, you become less of the question, and you start to function like everyone else does in the world, which is what's wrong with this picture? How come I can't fix it? Blah, 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 blah. Now, part of that was also my awareness of everybody else in the 50-foot counter or 60-foot counter of all these different car companies who were having similar challenges. And and it was so interesting. And I caught myself probably after about 45 seconds of collapsing into this, okay, it's not working. Which was everybody else, and started asking questions. How can I make this work? Which, the interesting thing about questions is that they change the field of information. So it
Wow.
goes from a contraction to expansion. It goes from what you're perceiving, not necessarily so, but perceiving as a problem, issue, the contraction, and it changes the energy of it,
Wow. Perfect. So
right?
there, yes, there is a simple principle here, I think. Wherever you place your attention or tends to grow in your experience, if you spend all day focused on a lack situation, you perceive more lack. If you
That's
spend
true.
all day focused on fear, for example, you perceive more reasons to be afraid.
Hmm.
But if you spend all day focus on possibilities, like your situation, you begin to see pathway that were previously invisible for you. So
Yeah.
yeah, your perception changed.
Yeah, totally. And it's interesting because as soon as you ask a question, the very second you start asking a question, it changes from contraction to expansion.
Exactly.
You don't even have to know what it's changing to. Like, I started asking, what else is possible here? I realize I'm somewhat of a spoiled brat. Like, I I like what I like. I went, oh, note to self. But it went from like, I went, what else is possible here? Like, this is not exactly the place I was trending towards as an experience. And I could sense, like, as soon as I started asking the question, the challenges started to dissolve. I didn't exactly get the guys behind the counter to be more in tune with what I was looking for, but at least it didn't get worse, which
Mhm.
it could have.
Yeah, it's good.
It could have. I mean, it only probably costs an extra 1,000 US dollars or an extra $200 a day extra to rent this car so I could have a car. Um, but it was kind of interesting because as soon as I let go of all of that, I went, who cares? It's just money. who cares? I am not going to allow whatever this is to ruin my time, to spend any more time here. I'm just not doing it. And that was the choice that was underneath it. So it's like the question, and then, how much longer am I going to do this for?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you change the situation with the question, your energy, and the possibilities.
That's right.
So yeah, this is fantastic because it's our choice to do that. So you can do it for everything in our life, with the
That's true.
family, work, with when you are traveling. So for me, this is a magic.
Well, and it's something that you don't have to be magic or even believe in magic to do. There's lots of people who believe that when you change something instantaneously, that means that it's magic. If you have something different show up that you can't explain how or why it showed up, that it's magic, but it's really not. There's a lot of logic and things that are underneath it, but we're not going to go there today. But the thing is, anybody can do it. That's the
Yes,
cool part.
it's like a tool, right? It's a
Yeah,
tool.
that's right. Like a tool. The first tool, I guess I would think, which we talk about all the time on this podcast, is about, ask a question. It doesn't even matter what the question is. There's a few questions that aren't really questions, but
Yeah.
asking a question in and of itself will start to shift it if you're really doing it from question.
Yes, yes. You don't have to conclude anything when you're living something is challenging for you, right? So in a situation with I have with my family, my son, sometimes I don't know what to do, but I could stop myself and freezing and deal with that with negative perceptions or asking questions and choose something that is going to change my energy and my creation with that situation.
Hmm.
It's good because all the time when I do that, my son pay attention in me. He start to realize that, oh, I can do this with my life and my situation too. So we have it's not difficult. It's easy when you have this perception. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because one of the reasons I'm in Sweden is to go to my step grandson's wedding, and we're going to make a speech. And I was thinking, hmm, what could I possibly say that would be impactful to everybody who is at this wedding? That would be, you know, work. I went, oh, I'll just share the tool that we always have choice.
Wow.
So as you're navigating your relationship every day. You have a choice every day, every moment of every day. You can choose something is going on that's not quite where you want it to go. What choice do you have here? What choice could you create? Because the more conscious we become, the more choices we can perceive.
Yes.
People who function from less consciousness can only perceive choice A or choice B, generally speaking. And they don't usually ask questions very much further than choice A and choice B. That's what I see in front of me. Okay, it's this or this. But as you start to become more conscious, become more aware, which is what consciousness is, simple Simon, more aware, you become aware of more choices. Now you ask a question, something's not working. What choice do I have here? You might get a smorgasbord of choices in front of you. Like become aware, like there's five things in front of you. Oh, I could do this, and this right now. And I need to make a choice right now. Which one of those will work? What will they create more so?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the choice part that is actually the catalyst for the possibility.
Wow.
And it's kind of funny because you can imagine that you're about to get married and somebody's giving this conversation. I get 3 minutes to have a conversation about something that would be meaningful. It's like, what choice are you going to make today that will create more for both of you? Make
Yeah.
sure you're always asking questions to have choice in your relationship so that it continues to grow and flourish. That's about all I'm going to say. But I know for the people who are here at this wedding, that'll be a big, like, that'll be a door opener of magnitude. But it's kind of interesting because it goes back to the idea that we have this choice or that choice. And I'm sure that your son,
Mhm.
when you all of a sudden pause and then you ask a question or do it differently, he is aware of what it is that what you're up to. Would that be so?
Yes. Yes. That's why I'm always thinking about easy and abundance because we create more. Perhaps
Hmm.
we believe that if it's easy, it has no value, but it's opposite sometimes.
He believes he has no value?
Yeah, sometimes, oh, it's so easy. So there is no value in that because it's easy. So, but I know a lot of people that think that way, and like if you wanna something that is very good, it has to be difficult or hard to get it.
Hmm.
But I think you have to observe the best situations and relationships and that we create. The moments that we were more aligned with ourself, more presence, expansion, and there is no conclusion. If you ask questions, if you can see more possibilities, you can feel what's going to be create with different perspective. I think your life flow better. Yeah.
Yeah, and certainly making a choice, is valuable.
Yeah.
And actually, not making a choice is also a choice. But if we're talking about the concept of ease, how is it that you can create more ease in your life? We've touched on when things get not in the direction. But what is it about creating ease so that more of your life becomes ease and less of those entanglements of where you have to like work a little harder?
Yeah. I'm I'm reading something about new habits when you
Hmm.
create new habits in your life. And it's I'm loving because I choose create different things in my life.
Hmm.
So when I do that, I think I'll make choice in that moment because I'm very organized and I put everything in an agenda. If you want to create something that gonna bring you more easy, you have to sometimes it's not control, but you have to choose it to open space in your life.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna pay attention in resolve difficulties, difficulties. Sorry, difficulty situations. And yeah, when you open this space, oh my God, it's so light. Yeah, it's not a passivity thing. You have to look for it.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because if you're asking, always asking for your life to have ease, it will start to have ease. You'll start to navigate living from a place of ease, and you will notice it when you're making choices that work against you.
Mm.
And and I think that that's the coolest thing about consciousness is that you don't end up walking into brick walls, do trial and error quite as often, like probably close to never, because you're aware about what you're creating and you're aware of where your choices are taking you because you're so present to what's going on. And, a lot of people look at the word consciousness and they go, oh, it must be some ooga booga, some weird thing in the sky like God or, something else. But really what it is, it is in the first and foremost awareness. So if you're aware that the choices that you're making are going to work against you, would you continue to make them? Or maybe you would, because you're so bored. But
Well,
but then there's the choices that you make because you go, oh, that is going to be so much fun. I don't know where it's going to take me, but I get the sense that it's going to take me somewhere that's greater and that's cool, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so to me, having more consciousness is really the gift for everybody
wow,
because life, it is one of the greatest steering tools to having a life of ease, is to actually get a sense of when your life is going to create how you're navigating it. And then you don't spend like friggin' like weeks undoing a thing that you created from unconsciousness.
wow. That, that's important. Yeah. Perhaps it's a way of walking through life with easy. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not to be discounted. I mean, people go, well, how do I become more aware? How do I become more conscious? There's so many different ways you can do it. You can just choose to be present,
Mhm.
which is like really present in every moment. What else, Daniela?
Yeah. What else? What possibility have you not yet considered about this some situation?
Hmm.
This is a great question that I use a lot and change my energy because I'm not stuck in a some situation that I don't know how to deal with. And for to create more magic, like or good things for my life, I choose to in an easier way. It's not
Yeah.
eliminating challenges. It's not like
Hmm.
that. But I choose to deal with the challenges with easy and yeah, and facility. I don't know. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's kind of, people, so how do people become more conscious? How could people become more conscious other than being present? Whoops. We have a freeze on the screen.
I'm here.
Okay. So, what are the different ways people can become more conscious so that their life has more ease in it? So, if one of the tools of creating more ease is consciousness or awareness, what are some of the tools that people can use other than just being, I'm going to actually get totally present to where I am right now?
Present. Yes. No conclusion for everything. No control for everything.
And so, does, from your point of view, does meditation create more consciousness?
Yes, a lot. because you can feel something that is different that your mind perception along every day. So you can feel something different. You're present, so more
Yeah.
conscious.
hmm And that thing about stopping, just that moment, like where you stop. I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and um, she is Muslim. So she prays, I think she said 5 times a day, at least four times a day. And if I have this correctly, but they're short periods of time. They're like 4 or 5 minutes, and everybody gets together, even in an office environment, and they pray. But she says that for her, it brings her down to being more present to a scenario. So it takes her out of the continuous thought cycle that's there, and and gives her a sense of, well, I'll call it spirit. And then the other thing I think that's cool that creates more consciousness is something like access bars.
Exactly.
And and for me, that's one of the things is like you don't have to turn it on and turn it off. Like meditation, you go and meditate and then you come back and you come back to this world and that kind of thing. But for me, as I started examining access bars the other day and looking at what is it exactly that it does for people, is that it allows them to be present in every moment of every day, not just when they finish meditating or while they are meditating. It gives them a level of awareness about what's really going on and less caught in the, like, I'll call it, what do I want to call that? The razzle dazzle of too many thoughts, feelings, and emotions that keep you distracted from
Yeah,
from that. And to me, that's a gift because people do become more present because they can. And it's not temporary. It's not like a temporary, more temporary like meditation is. And I'm not saying that over time meditation doesn't allow you to become more conscious, because it does. But I find, or when I look at what Access Bars does, is it allows people to become more present more consistently.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Changed
And
my actually.
what's that?
Access bars changes my life point of view. Yeah, really. I could, my behavior and my choices and my relationships, because
hmm
open and more present for everything with no
hmm
conclusion and point of view.
And for me, that's one of the places what I look at is like where it creates ease, because you start to see where you're functioning from and what's working and what is not going to work for you because of the degree of consciousness that you perceive from it. So, yeah. And as always, we always leave you with questions. So,
Yeah.
Daniela, what question would you leave them with today?
My question is, what if easy is available for you right now? Are you willing to receive it?
Okay, cool. Let's see. A question about ease. What could you create today that would allow you to have a life of ease now and in the future? Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Viva Alive. Bye,
See you.
everybody.
Bye bye.